everyone. Good afternoon or late or good morning. I'm Saloni Mehta. I am the founder and CEO at Tactopus Learning Solutions Private Limited, where we work with young children with special needs and their learning needs, etc. What we are doing right now is we are taking special education online for young children with cognitive disabilities, slow learners, or developmental delays. Um, I'll not talk too much about that itself and maybe focus on the journey since that is what this session is about. We started the company about 3 years ago in 2018 is when we registered. But the story really starts about 2 years before that when me and my then co-founder was in design school at IIT Bombay. So we were just kind of tinkering with the problem statement. And as designers, we were looking at how we could use technology to solve for the problem that we were working with. Back then, it was a very niche problem statement. How can children with vision impairment access images as part of their learning journeys? I'll fast forward because we have just 10 minutes and kind of late 2017, right out of college after, being, like we've had support of so many people across the way and I don't think it would have been possible without support. So one thing I've learned for people who are earlier in your journeys, just ask, keep asking for help from people. And more often than not, you'll get it, which is really nice about the system. So early on, while we were at IIT Bombay, we had support from IIT Bombay itself, but also SIGN, which is an IIT Bombay incubator. End of 2017, I would actually like to really thank Empower because we won 2017 Empower Zone Startups Empower competition, and that is the grant money with which we actually started the company. So big thank you to you. We wouldn't be here without it. And so 2018, when we kind of registered with the money we won with Empower, and IDFC First was the partner, Empower partner that gave us the grant. That was when we started building the team, working at the product, really looking at scale, because there's this phase when it was transforming from an academic project to like a company that makes sense, that solves a real world problem. So we did that, we tweaked around, we played around with business models. We won a few more competitions because we were in the social impact space. We applied for a lot of grants, lots of awards. We went down that bandwagon. Interesting journey by itself. I think we're kind of out of it now. We've, through our journey, kind of learned more about, how a business is not just a product. So that was, I think, big learning number 2, that there is so much more around for you to do other than just work on the product for a business to be successful. And so that's where we are now post-COVID, really kind of understanding how we fit into the ecosystem and how the problem is more than, like we've come such a long way in multiple facets of understanding business, of team building and how the team has grown, from like a measly team of just interns and figuring out how to do stuff to us really being confident of what our larger vision is. We're able to confidently talk about, we are going to change the world for real, like not just like a pitch deck line. So that's been a huge journey and it's, I think, been an important one. And TiE has, I guess, entered our lives late in that sense, but been so helpful, especially because what we're doing right now, where we feel most confident in our journey that has been so far, is that we're now kind of talking about taking on a larger problem. And TiE Women kind of came in right at that point where we were thinking of this pivot. We were right, like we were still figuring out what is important, what's not important, should we be pivoting? All those, like COVID had just hit, a physical product business was like, didn't make sense in the COVID world because we were a B2B special needs school business, which completely does not exist as a segment right now because of the lockdowns. And we're like, okay, we have to take this home, we have to make it larger, we have to think bigger. And I would say we just kind of, I think that entire journey of figuring out who we were very nicely parallelly played out with the Thai kind of competition. Personally for me, because we were relatively later, like we were, I hardly call myself later stage, but because theoretically we knew of most things that were covered in the accelerator, I would say the real value for us was to actually look at it as a guidebook and build our new pivot model with that. So actually get practice in. So because I'm from the edtech learning space, so for any kind of learning system, you first learn the concept, but then you have to practice the concept. And that's when you really kind of acquire that information, right? So I think we'd theoretically known concepts, and with this we were able to practice, like practice pitching, and Geeta ma'am used to make us pitch every day, oh my God, twice every day. And so that's, the practice bit really came in, and it's really helped. We still have a long, long way to go, but I am kind of so glad to be here. I don't know if that was helpful, but thank you. Thank you so much.
Is with your business, maybe just because they come from different location, you might want to reach out to them from a perspective of knowing in South, how does it work if you're from North and things like that. So while you listen to the stories, keep some of these things open in your mind for you to kind of leverage when you hear others.
Everyone, I'm Anusha, co-founder Candy Factory. So in the business of creating and great tasting and offering great tasting confectionery, which is popular around the world, not that much available in India. So first I'll talk about your pink tongue. If you have children in your family, you know they love sweet treats, and you may indulge too. But most of the candy available around the world is made with synthetic colors and chemicals added to them. So studies show that synthetic colors cause irritation to the throat, hyperactivity in children, and have carcinogens when combined with chemicals is actually not so good for the human body. And at Candy Factory, we make confectionery using colors from plant-based natural sources, from turmeric, paprika, spinach, aparajita flower, to name a few. And we don't add any chemicals to enhance the shelf life like the commercially made candies. And so it is better for the green footprint. It's all vegetarian, so there's no animal cruelty as such. So how did we begin this journey? It all started, they say that, things happen in your mind first before they actually happen. So everything happens twice in this world. So I will go back to the Goa setting, which happened in 2012, when Mahesh, the founder, and my husband, he and my second son, our second son, went on a father-son bonding trip. So Jishnu was 6 years old then, and they went to Goa. Father wanted to please the son. He saw this beautiful looking swirl pop in a store there, and he wanted it. So Mahesh thought it's like 100 rupees for a lollipop, but he wants to please the son, and he bought it for him. Unfortunately, or maybe I should say fortunately now, it fell and broke to pieces. So he went back to the store to buy one more. And the shopkeeper said, till the next imports come in, there is no one more swirl pop available in Goa. So that was a light bulb moment. These candies, he had seen them earlier in Europe, but noticed them but not given it much thought. But now the thought started forming that why not make these candies for kids in India? It has such a pull, and it's not available here. So we started in an extra room in our house. And many days of sticky kitchens. I used to come back from work. I still had my full-time job. And Mahesh wanted to start his own. So he was doing this part-time and with his job as well. So I came back to sticky kitchens, and finally we had something like a reasonably looking decent candy. And I brought in the first order for Christmas in 2012. And we made 18 candies. It took us till 3 a.m. to make the first 18 candies, and we were like really exhausted. And we went and supplied to this cupcake counter at a premium mall. And in a few hours, we got a call. We said, what's wrong? Did something go wrong? And they said, it's all sold out. You give us some more now. So the problem was new now. How are we going to make 18 more candies for that weekend? So soon we started participating in farmers market events. And since the product was new and it had a pull in the market, there was demand and retailers also wanted them. But at that time, we were very naive to think that you make a good product and it will be sold in shops, but that's not how the market in FMCG works. We've come a long way since then. So we have 4 brands now. We make India's only marshmallow brand currently, even though we started with Swirl Pop, which is Candy Swirl Pop, which is our flagship brand. So Marshmallows is India's only marshmallow. There are about 4 brands of marshmallows in the entire world that make them vegetarian. It is a unique recipe, and Marshmallows is India's only brand. And we have Toon Pops as another Swirl Pop brand. Candy Swirl Pop is very beautiful to look at. It's made with natural colors. All our brands are made with natural colors without chemicals. And then we have the gummy candy, which again does not have gelatin, and the beautiful bright colors are very safe because they are plant-based. So we have come a long way since then. 3 of our brands are bestsellers on Amazon. They've been so for the last 5+ years. And recently in January, we were recognized and awarded by SIDBI as among best 5 startups. We raised capital, we raised debt initially from Keiretsu Forum, who has been very supportive. But before that, I'm very grateful to TIE Chennai, the Chennai chapter, because all this happened after I participated, we both participated in a pitch fest there in 2018, end of 2018. And we were identified by Mr. Rajan Shrikant of Keiretsu Forum. And we were very raw then. We thought, okay, you go pitch, you have a good product, you're making some sales. Investors are going to invest money like you hear in these stories, but that's not the case. We were mentored, we were chiseled out, and we were given the right kind of mentoring, I would say, and a lot of support and encouragement. So now, in the midst of pandemic, we once again raised capital. We performed. So here we are. As to the phase 1 of TIE Global, it's been an amazing experience for me because, one, I'm somebody who really shies away from any spotlight. I prefer the founder, Mahesh, to do the whole thing, and I would literally run away, but I told myself, okay, this is a women's forum. It is going to be encouraging and supporting, and let me go ahead and complete this whole thing. So I was really glad. Vijay Rao spoke about aspiration. That stuck with me quite a bit because all of us have aspirations, but there is no concrete form given to it. Maybe I did not have a concrete form for my aspiration. So after the phase 1 of that session, I actually went back and spoke to the founder, Mahesh, and I said, what is your aspiration and what is my aspiration? And was glad to know that it aligned. So my aspiration was always like, I have to go to another country and find my product on the shop shelf. And today, we are supplying to Canada and USA through Amazon. We've got approved for Europe as well. So it's a little bit of the aspiration achieved, I would say. It makes me very happy. And thanks. So the phase 1, we had fabulous mentors as well. On the presentation aspect, I know what I'm doing. I handle sales, but to put it on a presentation and get the numbers right and possibly get the market share right. I did not know how to do that. So that was really, really helpful with the mentorship. And then we moved on. I was really happy, okay, I've been chosen as the runner-up. It was a big thing for me personally. And on the phase 2, there were a lot of takeaways for me, like I was telling Harshit here, he gave a tip saying, you know, you have to focus more on Reels, which is on Instagram. I actually went back and did that. And it gave little more visibility for the brand on social media, even though we are not so much there. There was on relationship building with investors. So that was something you, as an entrepreneur, you're busy building your business, you want to sell, you want to make profit, and you want to earn money out of that. You don't really think about building relationship with investors. That was some good insight, I would say. So I have time. So thank you, TiE Global. And it's been great seeing other women going through the same journey. So there is a rub-off effect, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you, Anusha, for sharing that lovely journey. I especially, enjoyed these marshmallows, and I hope everyone else, did too. Can I request Akita, is the device charged?
Maybe I'll start with the story of a girl from a middle-class family, very orthodox, who believe in educating a female, getting a government job, married, settled. That's the success. And maybe she wanted more. Maybe she wanted to reach much more higher goals. And that's when she started fighting, but the strength was not enough. And she wanted to become a doctor, but unfortunately, she was joined in a max course, MPC. It's a nightmare since 2 years, just reading the max. But when her interest was actually to do something for the people, something with medicine, then she figured out a way where she can satisfy both her parents by studying engineering and still follow her passion. That's when she found a course called as biomedical, where she can see the patients, she can see the dissection, she can visit the hospitals, but she get a degree of an engineering. And then she realized even this course is much better than becoming a doctor, because it involves new technology. She can create something new which is not existing, and she can deliver her service for a cause, for a need, which creates an impact. Then she started fighting against all the odds. The curriculum do not teach you the practical skill set. She had to travel around 100 kilometers daily to learn practically. She did that, and she created a robotic arm. That's when it triggered. Why not patent my idea? Maybe she was the first one to apply a patent in her university. It flopped because of few things. That was the first failure, and it was a first car. Then she worked on to improve the same technology and get it into the market. She was almost close to get a funding at a university level. Due to some reasons, government did not support. It was a second scar. And tentatively, she identified a course which creates people from a different background, selects from an interdisciplinary course, and teaches them how to create healthcare products. So, okay, that was CFHE from IIT Hyderabad, and she undergone the Biodesign Fellowship Program. So that's me, Akita, co-founder of HEMAC Healthcare. HEMAC is derived from healing machines, and we are focused to identify the unmet needs in the field of neonatology and provide solutions with zero separation between child and mother. And I'm proud to be here between you guys, because it was not an easy journey, it was a roller coaster ride, and I'm happy to have this ride. This was the best journey I had ever in my life. And coming to Thai, I just wanted to say one incident. So I was attending all the courses, all the mentor sessions, and there was one point, because it was COVID, I was in home, and it came to a level whether they asked whether your startup is important or your family is important. It was an emotional attack. Maybe I was admitted in an ICU, but there was one reason where I had fight back, because I might not be able to get married, give a birth to a child, but I will have a potential to save at least 42 million babies in the globe. And I'll make many mothers happy. Right? So at that point of time, I got the energy to come back, fight back, and then I thought, okay, I should stop pleasing people, and I should stop, comforting them and compromising my aims. Then I started selling my vision, my idea to them. And now, from a stage कि ये कुछ नहीं करेगी, तो ये कुछ बनेगी. So I'm glad for Thai, because at that point of time, the mentors were fixed, the time was fixed. But at a point of time, the mentor waited for me. It was just, tomorrow was my pitch for the regional sector. But today, he called me and was like, no problem, Akita, it's fine. You call me anytime. Whenever you get time, I'll support your pitch. And he had, gone through my entire pitch. Bala sir was there, and he had dissected my entire pitch, and he had analyzed, and he had told, at which point I stand. So that dissection was very important to me, to understand where I stand, and what I'm supposed to improve. Because at some stages, we just prepare something, and we don't know whether what has to be improved, how much you have to scale up to reach that level. So I got a clarity on that day. Though I'm not a winner, but I know what has to be done to become a winner. And thanks to Thai for that. And this is the product. I bought a portable version itself. It's not a complete version, but as we believe in zero separation, this is a this is just a portable version where you can convert it. This is just a one light unit module. It's a phototherapy device which treats the baby from jaundice. You can plug and play with that. One of the light unit can be removed, put it in a baby pouch, and you can connect it to any of the mobile power bank. And even this idea is patented, has a value. I'm not sure, this is not charged. Can I have a power bank?
Anyone have a power bank?
Okay, it's fine, it's working. So this is how we can treat a baby while breastfeeding, while providing kangaroo care, without compromising the need of having the baby and mother together. So that's our idea. All our next products would be following the similar line of zero separation between child and mother. Thank you.
Thank you, Akita. Next, we have Priyanka Garg. Okay, I guess Priyanka hasn't arrived. Shelly?
Hi, everybody. Ether? Okay. So my name is Shelly Motial. I am the founder of NimbleQ. It's called NimbleQ Edu Venture. We're based out of Lucknow. And to kind of talk to you a little bit about what is it that we do at NimbleQ. Our vision is very simple. We basically help children build a life of their own rather than follow a life that happened to them. So I think this is something that most of us can resonate with. There are, when you're growing up, you're told do this, do that, but we're trying to empower our children over here. And so how do we do that? By teaching children as young as kindergarten, so 5 years of age, all the way up to the 10th grade. We teach them a combination of technology along with business acumen and financial intelligence to help them develop a problem-solving mindset. I know this sounds like a lot of gobbledygook. It sounds like big words, and how do you do that? But so let me give you a couple of examples. So we had a young child, 8 years old, second grade student, who walked into the local Hamleys store and was observing the sales associate over there. And as the associate kind of ripped off something, he was like, "Why are you ripping off the RFID tag? And someone's going to steal your toy away." And the father, who was accompanying the child, did a double take and said, "Well, how do you know what RFID is?" And he said, "Oh, I learned it in my NimbleQ class," right? So that's kind of an example. We have, again, another 12-year-old child who's been with us for the last 3 years of the program. And he has, in June this year, developed an app which is which is available on your Google Play Store. So it's a chit-chat, WhatsApp-type messenger app, and he's also developed a browser. Now, this is not something that we have helped him create. We have given him the training and the knowledge and built that mindset with him, but it's he actually who tinkered around, and we realized later on that, these kids have formed like a little subgroup of themselves, like a little community, and, they are kind of exchanging ideas with each other, and a lot of them are working on commercially viable apps simultaneously. So those are the kind of things that really, derive a lot of pleasure for us, and that's really what we consider our win. So that's kind of a little bit about, what we do, a little bit about why we do this. So the company has been formed with my husband, so pretty similar to you. We joined hands together about 3 years ago and set up NimbleQ. He comes from a scientific background. I come from the corporate world, and we it's kind of a marriage that worked out. And when we were leaving our jobs and moving into this full time, we said either we are headed for a divorce or it's going to work out. So like Mahavir said today, you have to have a good sibling. I have a great sibling. I'm looking for a parent. So we are at this point looking for investing, so I'll just put it out there. We used to live in the US. We've lived in the US for 20 years. We are, I don't know if it's going to add any value over here, but we're US citizens. So we were extremely settled, never ever imagined that we would one fine day pack our bags, lock, stock, and barrel, move family, young children, all the way back to India, but we're very passionate about what we're doing, and so we kind of did this. But really, the problem started out in the US. Both of us were working, and we realized that as we saw first generation, Indians come into the workforce, they all struggle. We always stay stuck at the middle level. Director, senior director, that's it, That's where most of us are sitting. We're running big corporations like the Googles of the world, but really, how many of us are making it to the C-suite? Not too many. I used to have my profile was such that I've had the privilege of working with C-suite members, and often I was the only Indian woman sitting over there. And I was not a very senior level person, but it's just that the nature of my job was such that I had the privilege to be into those conversations. And what you realized was that we were missing that ability to push, to show up, and to take that initiative. We are great followers. And that's something that has been inculcated in us since we were children. We always look up to the teacher and say, "Ma'am, can I go to the bathroom?" "Yes, you may." "Mama, is this okay? Papa, is this okay?" Right? We're not saying, okay, this is how it should be done. We're not encouraging our children to do that. So that's where NimbleQ comes in. Through the way that we teach our children, we help them build that kind of a mindset. And therefore, that is the problem-solving mindset, which helps leadership skills. If you look at data, Fortune 500 companies, only 2% of the Fortune 500 companies have CEOs of Indian origin. So that is only 10 CEOs around, like for 500 companies are from India. That statistic hopefully will change in the near future, but right now we need to work at that level of children and try to bring about that change. So that's really kind of the why of why we ended up doing this. Now to talk about a little bit about TiE's entry into our lives as a company. So this opportunity with TiE came in at a very opportune time. We were just about hitting the pandemic. We had to literally overnight shift our business model. We were primarily an offline model, so we were going in face-to-face into schools, and we had physical academies where we were delivering this program. We were not really online. So overnight, we went online. We started our online model. We expanded into geography, so we are now pan-India. We are into the US market and into the UAE market as well. And so, you know, the pandemic brought us a business opportunity for sure. But with the coming in of TIE, I think, and through the mentorship that we received, there was a lot of, you know, especially as we were preparing for our pitches, there was a lot of honing in of the why and the how and why are you doing this, and, you know, it got us thinking on a lot of aspects, which we were already thinking about, but I think it helped streamline a lot of our thoughts. I really have to thank our mentor, Anirudh Ramakuru, who's based out of Bombay. He gave us tremendous financial advice, which we desperately needed in terms of, you know, how do you value your company, how do you, you know, do this, X, Y, and Z. So that I think for that reason, it was a very meaningful journey. That whole process really got us ready to pitch to investors. So we are kind of out in the market right now, looking for connections and you know, trying to make that pitch, because what we realized is that if we want to grow at the rate that we want to grow, we need some infusion of capital. We've been bootstrapped and profitable since inception, but at this point in time, to accelerate that growth, you know, we kind of need to push that forward. The second phase of the journey also has been extremely valuable. I think, you know, just the sessions that were held were tremendous. The kind of insights that were provided through those sessions were amazing. You know, right from Avantika all the way, you know, I forget the lady who gave the presentation on marketing. It was a really, really insightful presentation. So thank you for organizing and for facilitating those to TIE. And it's been wonderful to meet you know, some of you. I've spoken to some of you, and I still have to speak to a lot of people. So I look forward to kind of connecting with people. I'm keeping my eyes and ears open for any possible synergies with you know, the folks over here. So if you see anything that resonates with you, please feel free to reach out. I have a couple of people that I'm going to reach out to because I do see some synergies over here. So with that, thank you very much for this opportunity, and I look forward to continuing to interact. Bye.
Thank you, Shelly. Aishwarya?